Here's a really great comment that a mom made on my last video, and that video was on sharenting. I'm going to read it. Here it goes. I'm a single mom, and I think of sharenting as sharing parenting. I have 2 small kids, and there are very few parents in the building I live in. During COVID, I can't get together with people, so I use social media to meet other moms. I feel like I'm on social media all the time, and I'd like to change that. Now, this comment brings up an issue that many parents deal with, and during the last year with COVID, the isolation has obviously been intense. But when we get past COVID, and it's safe to socialize again, we can still find ourselves somewhat isolated as parents. Why is that? It seems like you'll see other parents hanging out in groups, going on play dates at the park, but maybe those types of friendships aren't coming our way as we had hoped. This is one of the points I will discuss in this video. The other is how using social media or virtual relationships can be affecting our children. And by the way, if you can relate to this topic and think other parents might be interested in it, please tap on the cute little thumbs up. That tells YouTube to show this video to other parents. And I do thank you for that. So let's look forward to a time after we are vaccinated and the CDC gives us the okay to safely socialize again. Sometimes it can be surprisingly difficult to develop relationships and friendships with other parents. Maybe like this parent who commented, you find yourself in a neighborhood and there aren't many families around. Or you've recently moved and finding new relationships hasn't happened quickly. Let's face it, if you're crazy busy raising those young kids, and we are, it's not so easy to make time to find friends. And other parents that you bump into, they're just as crazy busy as you are. Because of this, we might turn to social media to be, well, a little bit social. It's not the same as hanging out with another parent during a play date, obviously, but it's better than nothing. It gives us a little charge when we get that DM or comment or like about something we posted. And since during COVID, our highest priority is to stay safe, social media, if used with caution, can offer some degree of social interaction. And the reason I say caution is because in my last video, I talked about identity theft and social media. But let's also keep in mind, depending on social media is likely teaching our kids some very powerful lessons that we may not be aware of. And when things become safe again, there is benefit in shifting our socializing from Instagram, for example, to real-life interactions. So let's step back and see what this looks like from another viewpoint, from our child's viewpoint, a pretty important viewpoint. Let's pretend that we're an alien from another planet. That's why I have kind of my alien lights on behind me that change colors. Actually, they're just from Home Depot. We can look through walls with our X-ray vision, and we see a parent with 2 small kids in their apartment. The kids are young. They're playing on the floor with toys. Their parent is on the couch looking at a little box, about this big. The parent is tapping the box and then smiling. Then the parent sees something the kids are doing and gets down on the floor next to them. The parent aims the little box and asks the child to do something with her brother. Next, the parent goes back to the couch and starts tapping again. Next up, it's lunchtime. The little box is placed on the counter as lunch is made. Everyone sits down to eat, and the parent, after a few bites, the box makes a sound. It's a sound of a sort of a pleasant sounding chime. The parent gets right up, brings the box over and begins tapping on it. Then the parent breaks out into a big smile and laughs as they look at the little box. The kids are looking over curiously. The parent puts down the little box and starts goofing off with the kids. Everyone is laughing. Then again, a chime goes off. The parent stops interacting with the kids and picks up the box, then begins tapping on it. Again, the kids look on, waiting to resume fun with the parent. This is the way the day unfolds, interacting with mom or dad with periodic interruptions from a little chiming box. The parent always goes over to pick up the box quickly. The children think it must be important. Later, their partner comes home. During dinner, the parent who has been home with the kids all day brings over the little box and shows something on it to their partner. They both laugh as they are eating. The kids look on. The parent swipes her box and again they look intently, then smile discussing something they are watching. Now the other parent takes out another little box, their little box, from their pocket, etc., etc. We know how this story goes. See how this seems from a young child's perspective that doesn't completely understand what these little attention-getting boxes are about. And of course, it's not really about the box. It's about what's on the box. And what's on the box is social media. Now, if you watched my last video on social media and identity theft, you know that I'm not a big fan of sharing personal stuff online. In fact, I recommend against it. Nonetheless, for many parents during COVID, social media has been a way to keep in touch with other parents. I get that. Despite the risks, this is one positive benefit during this challenging time. However, I'm going to describe some of the more negative effects that social media use may be having on our children, unintended, and why we should consider reducing this use when it is safe again to have real-life interactions with people. Okay, as parents, we know that our kids are constantly learning by observing and imitating what we do. We are models for their behavior. Our kids are sponges, soaking up what they see and hear. When kids see their parents uploading their pictures, sharing stories, and interacting with these devices, we may be giving them a distorted view of friendships and relationships. If you were a young child, it might be easy to think that making friends really has a lot to do with tapping, swiping, and uploading. That's the behavior that we are kind of modeling to our children if we use social media a lot. They are watching and learning from what we do. Let's contrast this to what a child learns about relationships in a real-world situation instead of on social media. Say you are meeting a parent at a playground. You've met this parent once or twice. They seem pretty nice, so you set up an informal play date. Just kind of check it out. And we've all seen this scene many times. You'll have the young child almost hiding behind their dad or mom, but they're looking up and they're watching the interaction very closely. They're taking it in and learning from it. In this meeting, our child is seeing and hearing how you greet this other person, your tone of voice, gestures you use, body language, how the two of you start a conversation. All of these are modelers of behavior. Now, it's super obvious why this is important to kids. When they get together with other kids, like on a playground, what's the first thing they want to do? They want to interact, find someone to swing with, to run around with, to scream with, make a friend and start playing together. All the tapping and swiping they've seen done on a small box isn't helping them much at this point. They need the techniques that they have picked up from their parents when their parents are developing new friendships and new relationships with other people. This is why, in my view, after COVID, limiting social media or even eliminating it is something to strongly consider in a family. I know this is a little controversial. We want to provide modeling to our kids during our real-world interactions and not over-focus on sharenting. This helps them to develop their own relationships and helps them to learn how it's done. But wait, there is something else about this sharenting thing that also isn't so great. We are teaching our children that it's fine to upload our personal information to social media, online, which our kids know at a pretty early age is being viewed by other parents and other people, in some cases, people we may have never met. Strangers, in other words. We are showing our children that sharing our personal information with people we don't know is okay. In fact, it's normal. Mom and dad do it all the time. It's fun. So here's the point. We are not teaching our kids the caution that is needed when interacting with people online. Instead, we are teaching our kids to just go for it. Just assume everything is going to be okay. This is another issue I have about social media in a family environment and why I recommend against it. So to sum up, I hope this video gave you a new way to look at the topic of sharenting. In the next video, we're going to talk about some other sharenting things that are just plain creepy. That's going to be fun. I hope you subscribe and watch that upcoming video. It's got some good stuff that all parents should know. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on that next one.